Well, welcome to a special edition of a 2-minute cybersecurity briefing here. I've got an interview here with a special guest, Daniel Hill. He's technology consultant. Welcome, Daniel. Glad to have you on.
Thanks for having me.
Great. Wanted to chat with him a couple different areas that we wanted to speak about. Maybe one to start off the conversation. Just give us a little background. Tell us a little bit about maybe what you've done over the years and your expertise in technology.
Sure. My past couple of roles have been in healthcare, working in the technology segment and working specifically with end users to make sure that they have the setup and solutions that they need. My background before that has always been in computer science in one form or another. And I've worked a lot in wireless over the years, working to deploy solutions for clients as well. I grew up, using a landline phone, and you could hear so many different nuances of a person's voice on a landline phone that you can't hear at all on a cell phone. And these days when I talk with my friends' kids and they talk about Snapchat and Yik Yak and apps that they can do so much with, and when I talk about those with older people, their eyes kind of glaze over. They don't appreciate it. And for those younger people, though, they don't really understand the value of relationships, of friendships, of a handshake and what a face-to-face interaction can do and can mean, because to them, there's no need. They can have thousands of friends and thousands of followers, but I try to explain to them, just because you're friends on Facebook doesn't mean you're friends in real life.
How much is too social on social media? What do you think about that?
I think that's an interesting question. I notice a lot of people when they go on vacation, they put their vacation pictures on Twitter or Instagram for their friends back home. And if you have a public profile and I look at your pictures, you used hashtag Bahamas or hashtag Disney World, now I see where you are. If I look through some of your other pictures and I know where you live, it's only a matter of time before someone puts those two things together and decides to rob a house.
I notice a lot of times they'll put their home address, their home phone number, their mobile phone number, the date they were born, sometimes other information about their education, the high school they attended, the college. And some of that's okay, but when you put it all together, again, like we talked about the puzzle, it could be dangerous if their goal is to hack somebody.
Absolutely. Well, if I know what your email address is and I know where you went to high school and what year you were born, now I can answer two of your probably security questions for your email account, and now I'm almost all the way in, right? So that is a really big issue. I notice that people put that information up there because they want to be able to be found, but it's a fine line. Why would you put your home phone number up there? Well, maybe you want to get a call about a potential job opportunity at your home as opposed to at work. It makes sense, but by the same token, I can use that phone number now to call and verify and say I'm you when I call your credit card company. So many different corporate companies allow things like USB flash drives, for instance, and that's a perfect example of something that should not be allowed in a healthcare environment. And even if you say, oh, well, it's for personal use, it's so easy to accidentally copy a data file over that you shouldn't have. Maybe you went to grab something personal and you grabbed a couple files. Now you happen to lose the flash drive a couple of days later, and what happens, right? And so we try to deploy encryption measures for users. You can have a flash drive if it's encrypted, if we handle the encryption for you, and there's a lot of pushback for that, but it's for the user's own good. And do they want to lose their job over losing a flash drive? No. So there's complications in there, but they have to happen in this world.
Yeah, and it's an interesting point, because I hear that really across a lot of different sectors in the industry, where flash drives, they're becoming a huge problem. In fact, there's a lot of reported cases where they'll take a traditional flash drive and they'll basically print the company's logo on it, and somebody will walk by, throw it over the fence or in the parking lot. An unsuspecting employee picks it up and says, oh, this is our flash drive, and they plug it into their computer. Voila, now they've got malware planted, and that's an effective way for a hacker to get inside the facility without actually have to entering the front door. So
it's hard for end users because there are just so many different passwords, right? They have it for their VPN, for their Outlook, for their Windows logon, and not necessarily are all those passwords tied together. They might have a couple of them if the organization thinks that way, but some want a different password for everything, and users quickly get frustrated. Sometimes we'll spend significant amounts of time troubleshooting with users, resetting their password. Okay, now you have to wait 10 minutes, now you can log on. It's lost productivity, they get frustrated, but the problem is you need those passwords. And when we look at the list every year that comes out of the top 25 most frequently used passwords, and they're always the same ones, right? I mean, yeah, maybe they add one that happens to be current every year, Kardashians on there now, whatever, I don't know. But so many users are using those, and that's why they're making the list. So working with users to educate them to make more complex passwords, but not so complex you can't remember it. You need to have that same level of patience. But it's an ongoing battle. I'm an Android guy. Well,
Okay.
you're an Apple guy, and I've used the Samsung Galaxy Watch for
Okay.
a little while now, and it's been interesting. The notifications that go off, it starts to drive you crazy if you allow every application, every email you get, every text message, your wrist vibrates. But it's also a very big distraction too. If you and I are having a conversation, even if I set it to just get text from my wife and I just kind of do one of these, and you think, what's wrong with this?
He's constantly looking at the time. He's got to go.
But there are a lot of good uses too. You know, if you go out for a run, you don't want to take your phone. You have your music on your watch. You got your Bluetooth headphones. You can just go, and when you get back, you can still see how long you ran, you know, what your intensity was, and all those things to be able to track that without your phone. I see a lot of advantages there for athletes and people like that, just for times where you don't always want to have your phone with you. With the watches, a lot of them will unlock the phone if it's within a certain range, which is great if you spend all of your day unlocking your phone every 5 minutes or whatever. But if you can have it nearby when you're in the car and you don't have to unlock it, that's great. But if somebody steals your phone in an airport and they're within a 10-foot radius of you, right, they have access to all your information. And so you just have to be slightly more careful with your devices all the time. But that is a very valid concern when it comes to security, right? If they can get your watch or get your phone, now it's at least a gateway in to figure out what your PIN code is, what your password is, and then take it from there.
There's over 50 car manufacturers that have now integrated wireless connectivity, and what they're doing is integrating these small cellular modems, which are talking just like our traditional cell phones, and it allows imagine the car dealer to send you a notification, hey, your car needs to come in for a change of oil or needs service. All of those things are wonderful, or even providing maybe a mini Wi-Fi hotspot in your car so the kids can play their games in the back. My kids would be thrilled with that. The downside, though, I naturally start to think about is, what about when people start hacking the cars? Yeah. That's a concern.
I think specifically about OnStar, because you push the button, right, and they can remotely unlock your car.
Exactly.
If you called from your cell phone and you said, I'm locked out, and you make your voice sound very stressful, you happen to have the VIN, the license plate number, you can maybe have a driver's license to verify who you are, they'll let you in the car, right?
Yeah,
so if
absolutely.
you steal someone's wallet and you figure out which car is theirs, is there anything to stop you from that point? And obviously you need a key and so forth to steal it, but you can eliminate a number of steps through that social engineering that we've talked about.
Well, thank you for being on this segment. Really appreciate your insight, and hopefully we can have you on again in the not-too-distant future.
Great. Thank you for having me.
This is Daniel Hill, and he's a technology consultant, and it was a pleasure to have him on the segment today.